to release this movie or get his blessings on the movie, and you were saying that this is more than just your story. This is American
story. Yes.
And part of that story that you highlighted in this film was the connection between the Chinese and the Black community. Why was it important for you to include that in the film?
Yeah, I mean, the first part of it is it was authentic. That's really what happened. We weren't just throwing in Black people for the sake of diversity, right? We were doing it for the sake of authenticity. And growing up, I mean, like we moved from San Francisco to Sacramento, and my neighbors were Black, and the kids would come over, and my mom would make shrimp chips, and the kids were like, "What? You just throw a little piece of plastic in the hot wok of oil and it turns into a chip," right? It was like craziness, right? And we had so much fun. And when I moved up to Sacramento, I had more friends that were Black, got into music, and of course we played sports and just going to school. And I just felt like the Black community was always around me in some way. And then when we went to Mississippi, for some reason, I just thought that wouldn't have happened, right? I think for most people, you wouldn't think that would have happened, but it did. And when everyone started coming out to talk to us, because the first time we went out, we actually didn't meet the Black community. When we first made Finding Cleveland, we were there for like 30 hours, really.
No, we were there in town for 6 hours.
Just
time.
in town, just in town for 6 hours, but that whole trip, yeah.
Yeah, the first, yeah.
So we never met anyone in the Black community to talk about it. But then everyone that was Chinese would tell us about that. We're like, well, then where are they? So we had to go back, and then when we came back out, this is seriously what happened. So the first time we went out there, we didn't see really anyone that was Black. The next time we came out there, they knew we were coming. They knew we were coming.
Word travels fast in Mississippi,
right.
I'll just tell you.
They knew we were coming, and it was Oktoberfest.
Not the German one.
Well, sort of, because they were they were drinking.
Yeah,
but,
there
was a big barbecue, and we walked in the same little town of Pace, which had nobody there that you saw. And when we show up, the entire town of Pace is out on that same lawn area where you see my great-grandfather and grandfather's store, and you see that flatbed that was kind of over there that Edwin kind of described in the film. They turned that into like a DJ booth
in a stage.
And then so I show up and Mayor LaVon Jackson says to me, "Yo, you guys gotta just come up here and just do a song. We know who you are. Come up here and do a song." And so we plugged in your iPhone, I think, to the DJ booth.
And we're actually gonna do one of those songs
that's right.
later on.
Yeah, we are gonna do that song.
But I almost forgot about that. But yeah, we performed on that flatbed truck. Didn't make the movie.
Didn't make the movie.
No.
We should film that. We should put that somewhere. But yeah, we did that, right? And then the whole town was out there, and everyone was talking to us. And then Mayor LaVon Jackson brings us into his house, which was behind City Hall. Like we didn't know that
the mayor lived
right behind City Hall. And then he took us in there, the whole crew, right? And they had a whole spread of barbecue in there.
That he cooked personally.
Yeah.
Southern hospitality is real, you know?
And I was like, this relationship is amazing. And then Harold Lum walks out.
The grocery store owner.
The grocery store owner that you saw in the film. He walks out, and he's just walking around like he knows everybody. And he did. Everybody knew that one Chinese grocery store owner that was still there. And even to this day, like I went out there, and Harold has since passed also. Mm-hmm. And his house is right across the street from there. So they sold the store. And I remember when I went there a few months ago, you saw Laverne in the film, one of the ladies in there, and she just said like, "Hey, let's just walk over to visit the family." And we just walked over there, and they didn't know we were coming. We just walked in there, and then they just opened up the house, and we just said hi. And then we had Black people and Chinese people just hanging out in the living room, uninvited, but it didn't matter. And that's why I wanted to show the experience, because we hear, especially when we released this film right during COVID, and there was all this anti-Asian stuff, there's the Black Lives Matter stuff going on, and then they had like Black lives and Asian lives like hating on each other, and then you had everyone else that was just enjoying all that, you know? And I was just like, this can't be real, because our film and our experience has been so opposite. So why wouldn't we want to show this? Why wouldn't we want our communities to come together?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's showing a counter narrative to some of the stereotypes. I mean, not to say that there isn't tensions between communities, and you know, I always say like time period matters, geography matters, and so you know, I know we don't have enough time in the day to dive super deep into it, but like that's our experience is that it comes down to the human relationships, and I think proximity, especially back in those early days. Everybody was in the same boat in the pre-civil rights era. They were all kind of pushed to the margins. And so they had to rely on each other. And when she was talking about when Mayor LaVon Jackson invited us to his house, I mean, we have hours of like interviews, which we didn't include the film. He's telling us all these secret things that happened, all this, you know, bartering that the Chinese and the black community did, because of course they didn't want the white people in power to know. But like, again, these things are not documented because a lot of it out of fear, you know, of reprisal back in those days. And so we're hoping a lot to bring a lot of this history to light so that, again, we can learn from the good, we can learn from the bad, from the past.
Well, no, I love how you really took